So what is a good password? In the past, a password used to be something like Cowboy9 with a capital C and a number 9 at the end. It was 7 characters long, it had a case change, and it had a number at the end, so that was considered pretty good. But in today's security climate on the internet, that's just not good enough anymore. A good password's real intent is to keep bad people out or keep them away from the information you're trying to protect. So we need to worry about, what it takes to accomplish that task. Well, now that hackers have immense computing power at their fingertips, they can attempt like 1,000 attempts a second to break through your traditional type of password. And that's just not good enough anymore if we're going to use the traditional types of passwords. Another threat to your password is all these big corporate security breaches that have happened. Home Depot, Target, LinkedIn, Dropbox even. There have been hundreds of corporate database breaches. And this is where the hackers are focusing most of their efforts. Rather than hacking you personally, they're aiming at these big companies to try and steal your passwords. So I would actually suggest you check out our other video on talking about how to check to see if you've been on one of those breach lists. So regardless of whether your password is weak or your password's been breached on one of these big database compromises, you need to get around to changing your password. So what makes a good password? Well, the US government's National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, actually has recently updated their published guideline on what makes a good digital online password. In the old days, they were the ones that said, use special characters, case changes, use numbers and all that kind of jazz that made really hard to remember passwords. Well, the guy that actually wrote that standard has always regretted it because he's realized to a computer, a lowercase s, an uppercase s, and a $sign are all the same thing. It's just a character. And they're trying to break through the characters using random, brute force attacks now. So it doesn't really make any difference to have that special character kind of stuff jumbled in now. So NIST's updated guideline is actually getting easier for us to remember. So this is a good thing to learn. What they're suggesting is that the password needs to be long. Length is what matters against a brute force attack. So they're saying 12 characters or more for your password. But to accomplish that, they're actually saying we can start to do something that used to seem kind of crazy. We can now use dictionary words again. We could use 3 or 4 common short dictionary words like dog, hair, wind, spin. So dog, hair, wind, spin is 15 characters long and would actually be a really long, hard password to hack. So that would be great. But if you think about it though, security is evolving and our banking systems, our banks, aren't going to accept an all lowercase, just characters password at this point. If you go to try to put that password in, it's going to go bork. You need to do something a little bit better than that. So I'd like to suggest modifying the NIST approach to being something I like to call simple complexity. So if we take the NIST standard and we just modify it a little bit, I think it'll start to meet most of the security requirements of your computer network or the banks, even the standards that are kind of antiquated of today. So we'll kind of be the best of both worlds. So here's what I'm suggesting you do. At least 12 characters or more, just like the NIST standard. 3 or 4 small dictionary words, but random. Not your 4 kids' names, not your spouse's name, not your pet's names, not the school you went to, not the year you were born, the month you were born, anything. Nothing that was a personal demographic about you. 4 random words. So we've taken those 4 random words, and now I suggest you capitalize the first letter of each word. Simple thing to remember, just capitalize the first letter of each word. And then finally, I would put the year that you create this password on at the end as a number. So I'm just suggesting a 2-digit year, so if it's 2018, stick an 18 at the end. So now if you think about that, it's going to be at least 12 characters long, it's going to have a case change, it's going to have a number included, and it's going to be really frickin' hard to hack. So if we did dog, wind, spin, hair, 18, and we capitalized the first characters of each name, and if you that's going to make a really difficult password. How difficult is that to hack? Well, one thing I'd like you to check out is go to www.howsecureismypassword.net. If you do that, it's a simple user interface. You just type in your password, and it's going to estimate how hard it is to hack your particular password. Now, if I put in Star Wars, a kind of a typical traditional password, it'll tell you that's hackable instantly. That's on a well-known password list. If you put in my simple complexity, dog, wind, hair, spin, 18, that says it will take more than 2 trillion years at 1,000 attempts a second to break through. I don't plan on living that long, so that's probably going to be complex enough, so I think that's a good password. One last thing to discuss. You should go to the trouble to use a different password everywhere. This was the behavior that got us into trouble in the first place. If we use the same password on all the different websites, if one gets breached, now the hacker gets access to all of your accounts. So my advice is to go to the trouble of creating unique passwords for, you use the same username, your email address, but a different password at each site, particularly for places where you have valuable things behind, money. So banks, investment accounts, your Amazon Prime account that's linked to your credit card, your Starbucks account that's linked to your credit card, any place that there's some form of money behind the access, you should have a unique password. Now I have a sort of a generic password I use for throwaway sites. For example, at Yelp, where it's an online review site, I don't really care if somebody hacks my account and then goes and leaves a fake review about a restaurant that I can always take down afterwards if it's happened. So that way I don't have to remember a million different passwords, but any place there's something of significant value deserves a unique password. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit. If you need a little additional help with this or any other IT issue at your practice, please give us a call. This is what MME does for a living. You can reach us at 866-419-1102. We're here to help all the time. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I'd suggest that you subscribe to this channel down below here, and then you'll get an automatic notice of every time we put up a new video. Also, if you'd like to see some of the links that were mentioned in this video, down here in the corner is a link to our companion blog article, and it'll be a nice, easy, organized way for you to refer back to those links in the future. And as always, we'd love to hear your comments. If you can leave those down below, we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for watching.